Whispering Shadows, The Mystery of the Time Vanisher. When Ralph is back in Bonn, he has to go to the BND headquarters immediately. He has a meeting with Colonel Schmidt and a person who is said to have traveled back in time. Ralph has just returned from Transylvania, Hungary, where he had to deal with bloodthirsty vampires. He would like to lie down and rest, but Colonel Schmidt had sent him a text message. He should go to his office immediately to question the person. This person is being guarded and examined there for protection. He had already received an email from him in Hungary and already knows a little about it. There is an old photo of the old streets of Quedlinburg from 1925, and in this photo this person was photographed with a smartphone and newfangled things. Ralph is curious to see what will come out of the meeting. Alienaria Shop. Your one-stop fashion destination. Attention, fashion enthusiasts of all ages. Step into the extraordinary world of Alienaria, where style meets intergalactic flair. Whether you're a man, woman, or child, we've got the trendiest clothing and accessories to make you stand out from the crowd. Visit Alienaria Shop today and let us help you defy gravity with our mind-blowing fashion selections. Prepare to be abducted by style. Ralph enters Colonel Schmidt's office. Colonel Schmidt says, "Ralph, nice to see you." Ralph says, "I'm glad I'm here again, Bernd." Ralph and his superior have a relaxed relationship, but mutual respect is very high. Ralph adds, "In the Hungarian village there were actually vampires who lived deep under the castle. But I was able to destroy everyone, including the master vampire, a relative of Vlad the Impaler." Colonel Schmidt listened very carefully and finally said, "If something like this happens again, please call for backup." "I don't doubt your abilities, Ralph. I'm just worried that something could happen to you." But now to the next case. There is a certain Harold Baumgartner in the examination cell. He went hiking in the Harz Mountains and found himself in a different time. Luckily he reappeared. We are currently examining him for radiation damage and other trauma. Here is also a photo from a museum. It shows the old town of Quedlinburg from 1925, and here Ralph Baumgartner is photographed when he came out on the other side of the time hole. You can see the smartphone and today's fashion items here. However, it happened 2 months ago, and a few days ago he visited the Quedlinburg City Museum and saw himself in this photo. Until then he thought he was just having a daydream. But as far as everything, you can ask him personally. Colonel Schmidt and Ralph then get up and go to the examination cell. Colonel Schmidt and Ralph enter the examination cell. "Mr. Baumgartner, this is Ralph Saller, Special Investigator for Paranormal Cases. He will now question you." The colonel introduced. "Pleasant," said Mr. Baumgartner. Ralph begins the questioning. "Mr. Baumgartner, what happened and how? Please tell me everything in detail." Mr. Baumgartner says, "It was a few months ago. I visited the Teufelssteine in the Harz Mountains. It is a wildly romantic area with large boulders and dense forest. As a child, I grew up in Quedlinburg and was often out and about with my parents in the Harz Mountains." Ralph interrupts him. "Did you notice anything unusual? Flying orbs or changes in the sky?" Ralph suspects that perhaps aliens could have caused the whole thing. Mr. Baumgartner replies, "No, I didn't notice anything like that. But what I know is that the legends in the Harz Mountains about witches and other creatures make people disappear. Like, for example, the witches' dance place in Thale where the witches gather on Walpurgis night." Ralph interrupts him again, "Did you feel anything when you traveled through time?" Mr. Baumgartner answers, "Yes, I felt dizzy and suddenly I was standing in the old streets of Quedlinburg. A photographer took pictures of the city with an ancient camera. The streets were made of cobblestones and people traveled mainly in horse-drawn carriages. Suddenly I felt dizzy again and I was back at the Devil's Stones in the forest. I heard a giggle but couldn't figure out where it came from. The giggling sounded very strange and inconspicuous, but it was present. 2 months later I visited the city museum and found the old photos of the city and the one where I am pictured in the history section. Until then I thought it was a daydream, but now I'm not sure what reality is. That's why I'm here and need your help." Ralph says, "Thank you very much, Mr. Baumgartner. I suggest we both make our way to the Harz and examine the Devil's Stones. If we're there and you start to feel strange, please let me know. I suspect a creature of darkness is behind it, a so-called time demon. Time demons transport people to other times or dimensions and drain their life energy." The conversation is over and Ralph and Mr. Baumgartner get ready to travel to the Harz Mountains. As a precaution, Ralph takes his crucifix, his demon wit, made in ancient China with demon skin, holy water and his revolver with silver bullets. Ralph and Mr. Baumgartner make their way to the Teufelssteine in the Harz Mountains. During the car ride, Ralph learns from his companion that his first name is Harold. Both are excited about what awaits them there. The journey takes a few hours, but the hiking destination is not far away. Ralph parks the car in the parking lot of the hiking trail to the Teufelssteine nature attraction. They both go into the forest. It's not too late. It's early afternoon, there are boulders everywhere, and after half an hour they both reach the Devil's Stones. 3 huge boulders with embedded Germanic symbols can be admired, but that's not why they're here. Ralph immediately begins his investigations. His crucifix around his neck feels very warm and begins to glow. Something is going on here and he looks around at Harold to tell him to be careful. But he was no longer there, he disappeared. Ralph calls him but there is no answer. Suddenly he hears a diabolical voice, "Thank you, stranger, for making my sacrifice again." Ralph, completely shattered, asks, "Who are you? Show yourself." The diabolical voice answers, "I am the ruler of this area and my name is unpronounceable, the time in which I stay. You can only recognize me in my dimension." Ralph continues to ask, "What did you do to him? Show yourself, or are you afraid?" "I'm not afraid of you." Ralph challenges the creature. This creature laughed evilly and said, "I will teach you how afraid you are of me." At that moment the room blurs and Ralph finds himself in an apocalyptic landscape riddled with lava flows. Before him was a huge throne and an indescribably horrible creature. With reddish skin, horns and a mouth with knife-length teeth. Next to the throne is a cage with prisoners. Many people but also other beings are locked up. They must be creatures from different dimensions. The demonic creature asks, "Well, stranger? Are you scared?" and starts laughing horribly. Ralph knows this is a creature of the devil, an ancient demon of darkness. Ralph pulls out his demon whip, which begins to glow greenish, and shouts angrily, "I'll show you now how afraid I am." He hits with the whip and the creature screams in pain. This dissolves in green light, but Ralph hears its voice, "You will pay for this." And the voice fades away into a pitiful scream. Ralph sees the cage disintegrate and all the creatures disappear. The dimension dissolves in front of him and Ralph finds himself with Harold again at the Teufelssteine in the Harz Mountains. Ralph makes sure everything is okay with Harold. The time demon is driven out, but Ralph has made an enemy that is too powerful. This demon will attack him as soon as he has regenerated. Ralph knows that he has to be on his guard now. Both make their way back and drive back to Bonn. Ralph brings Harold home and tells him that he may contact him if he has any further questions. The next day he reports to Colonel Schmidt what had happened and learns from him that a flight to the USA has been booked for him. A small town with German settlers is haunted by one or even several Bigfoots.